You're listening to the Deadly Uncle Podcast,
a safe space for Deadly Uncle conversations.
All right, welcome to the Deadly Uncle Podcast. Today we're here with Tyler Two Guns. He is the fire chief from the Tsuut'ina Nation, and he's also an awesome musician. So we're going to probably share a few songs today. We're going to talk about Tyler's journey. And yeah, so welcome today, Tyler. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about where you grew up and a little bit about your family background.
Okay. Well, first off, thanks for having me. It's a nice little setup. Pretty cool. Thanks for the invite, Curt.
For sure, brother.
So a little bit about my background. I'm from Tsuut'ina. I born and raised. The background that I grew up in was I was kind of all over the place. I didn't really have a set foundation. Grew up with my uncles, my aunties, my grandma. Just because I came from I wouldn't say a fully broken family, but single mom, 4 kids, that type of scenario.
Yeah,
that's my background. But thankfully, I had some good people to fall on. Family and cousins. I grew up around. There's about 6 or 7 of us that are all the same age, and Indigenous communities. When you have that's like your brothers. And especially being the same age. So we did a lot of everything together. Get into trouble. The girls, all that stuff growing up, we did it all together, and surprisingly enough, we are still here to this day, and I'm really lucky to have them because we kind of raised each other that way. So I was really fortunate in that. So that's a little bit about my about my youth. Yeah.
Great to have you here. I've known you for quite a few years, through the music, and then also through the community. Mm-hmm. And I've come to know that you do a lot more than music, but, talk about what inspired you to pick up the guitar.
Oh, that's a good question there. So again, going back to single mother for 4 kids, my sister, Jody Two Guns, was actually the first in our family to take a liking to a guitar. And I remember when she wanted it. And actually, it's ironic. Her birthday was just yesterday. For her birthday, she got a guitar. She wanted that guitar. So she got the guitar, and then she started taking lessons. I don't know. I can't really recall where the lessons went, but I just know that she didn't continue. Now, the guitar itself actually sat around for a little while, and I believe through the paces, the strings actually start disappearing on this thing. and then believe it or not, I think there's probably about I think that the 4 top strings were still gone, or still there. And then my brother actually picked it up. My brother actually was self-taught, and he actually picked up the guitar, and he was actually pretty good. And going on, and I don't even know where he learned this from. He just all of a sudden he was just playing guitar all of a sudden with 4 strings. We didn't get the bottom 2 for a little while. So as I grew into that, I don't know what age I was, but I know for a fact I was probably about 13 when I actually picked up that same guitar. And at this time we were staying at my grandma's in a basement, and the first song I actually learned was Metallica. This is what my brother kind of he taught me that, and I played, and it was an acoustic, and so I played that for, I don't know. I just remember my brother getting sick of it, and he said, "Hey, I gotta show you something else," and he actually did start showing me the chords to go with that song, and then it was around that time that I if I remember correctly, that's when tablature kind of started making its way into the magazines, because it never used to be.
Yeah, no.
It never used. That was like a new thing, and once that hit, I was like, okay, I know how to read music, but that's not real music. It's just tabs,
Yeah.
But I caught on to that really quick. I caught on to that. Believe it or not, my brother had to take some time away from the house, and he left the guitar. And by the time I got back, about 6 months, I was actually progressed much more than he did, because he wasn't playing for a little while. And that's how the guitar kind of came into my life, was just being in the basement with my brother's magazines. The guitar magazines, and
I remember those guitar magazines.
yeah, guitar.
You know,
World.
dude, this sounds like a song. Like you should write that song about that guitar and its journey through your family.
I think, yeah, that's a good idea. I am, as artists, we tend to have a writer's block sometime.
Yeah.
Recently, I've got into the creative phase. I'm starting to actually put songs together. I got some, that I'm working on. But that's a good idea. I'll take that into consideration. Yeah, for sure.
Because it sounds like a song to me. Like just how this guitar took its journey through two of your siblings, and it came to you. Like, and I've always said that about music, is that we don't pick music. Music picks us. It's like that guitar worked its way through your family till it picked you, right? Like,
Yeah. So that's how it started. That's how it started for me.
Yeah.
Like most musicians, basement with a guitar. And believe it or not, that's where I play today, is in my basement.
So not much has changed, with a few more, venues there as well. It's the reserve that you're from is definitely an innovative reserve. There's a lot of businesses happening there. And one of the things I remember hearing from your musical journey was that you got to open up the Great Eagle Casino.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about what happened there?
Well, so I was down in Phoenix. I can't remember why I was down there. There's quite a few of us down there, and the talk was that they were having they're gonna have this grand opening for the event center. Now, ironically, about 2 months before that, I was actually in the venue, and I actually made a post, and I said, well, it would be nice to play here one day. And then, ironically, I'm in Phoenix, and then one of Kevin Littlelight, he actually messages me, and he says, "Hey, do you got anything on CD? Like anything?" And I said, "Well, I got a couple demos, or whatever you want to call them." And he's like, "Can you send them to me?" And I said, "Well, yeah, when I get home." And he, sure, yeah. So we made that connection. But I said, "For what's this for?" And he said, "Well, we got some people, the White Yoakum's people. They wanna hear your stuff." And he didn't mention what. He just said they want to hear your stuff. And I was like, okay, because Kevin was kind of, he was very interested in my playing at the time, and he still is today. He was kind of that extra help a little bit, So I eventually, he said, well, we're thinking of bringing him up to the nation to do this grand opening for the event center, and we want you to open. And I was like, oh. Okay, so that's why he goes, but they want something. They want to hear you. So anything is good. So he made the arrangement with the manager at the time for the event center, and I actually walked into Grey Eagle with a see-through. It was a green see-through CD, and this was homemade, eh?
Oh yeah.
But it had all my stuff on it, and to be honest, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, yeah. To be honest, it wasn't that bad. It was enough to put in a vehicle and listen to it, and whatever. So there's these about four big guys in suits, and these guys at the beginning, they're all from Vegas. All these guys are from Vegas, and here's me, and they're smoking away, and they're saying, "What do you want? What do you want?" And I said, "Well, I'm here to give a CD to somebody." And he goes, "Oh, that will be me." And he looks at it, and he's shocked that it's just, it's from London Drugs, and it's the see-through.
It's like you brought him a cassette tape or
Exactly.
something.
He's like, whoa.
Yeah, he's probably, seen the technology then was probably a little memory stick. But apparently they got it back to the White Yoakum, and he listened to it.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, let's just get him. And he's from there. Yeah, no, there was no problems after that. Yeah.
Right
So that's
on.
how we got in there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you know anybody who can get me in there? That's why we brought you here, actually.
Yeah. We need some opportunities. No, that's amazing. And what was your experience like on that show? How was the stage? How was did you get to meet him?
Oh yeah,
How was your night?
So the week, well, I wouldn't say the week. So 2 days before, they wanted us to do our sound check. We're like, yeah, okay, whatever. So we get in, and there's me at the time. We were just a trio. So there's me, Joe, and Zane, and we bring in our stuff, and we're just doing a sound check. All we're doing, he just says set up. We're gonna do the sound check. We're gonna store it into the board, all the settings, etc. And I was like, all right, okay. So we're doing that, and I'm kind of sitting there, and then it's kind of starting to hit me because I'm seeing empty seats. And then I'm seeing this place is going to be full that night because it was sold out already.
Yeah.
So it's starting to sink in, and Joe's kind of the veteran of the group, Like he's done this before and stuff like that. And near the end, we sounded good. We did a full set, and the guy was just keep playing. So we did a full set. We ran through some of our stuff. We're gonna do this, remember to stop here, that kind of stuff. And I remember at the end, I remember Joe asking me, he's like, do you feel nervous or anything? I was like, oh, not really. I said, but he goes, well, when the people are here, he goes, just keep this in mind. He goes, if you're feeling nervous, he goes, just remember the people are here. They're going to cheer regardless. Doesn't matter. He goes, they're it's a full house. They're going to cheer regardless. So just keep that in mind. And then after that, he goes, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it's going to be okay. And it was. But then what's interesting about that is that, so that was 2 days before. So they called us back the second day, and they said, oh, we didn't store the stuff. They're like, all right. So we actually had 2 rehearsals, 2 sound checks prior to the gig.
Oh, nice.
Which was good. And then the second one was way better. We were more confident. We were that 24 hours passed and whatever. And it went really good. And everything just was dialed in when we got in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice that you got a second chance to check out, feel the stage, feel the vibe, and
it's important. It really is. Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
So music isn't the only thing you do in your life. You're a leader in your community by being the fire chief. How did that journey start, and what led you into firefighting?
So that story kind of goes back to I went to school in Montana, and my first feel of firefighting was I actually worked for the U.S. Forest Service, doing some wildland stuff, and we went down to California. They call them tours. They're very, very paramilitary. They call them tours. 21 days. I did 3 of those. One was in Portland, Oregon. 2 were down in California. I was down there for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks down there, and then jumping around. We did some in Nevada, fighting wildland. So that's where my first taste of fire came from. And believe it or not, I graduated that school, came back, I became a tradesman, I became a welder, and then I just kind of got sick of the shops. They're very dirty, just needed a change. And then the Nations, the casino was already up and going, and then they were opening up a fire service. Yeah. So people were signing up, and I remember my mom saying, "Hey, they're signing up to be firefighters. Did you want me to put your name down?" So in the wildland thing, what's funny is the wildland guys call the structure guys crazy, and the structure guys call the wildland guys crazy. So I wanted to try this out, and I said, all right, I'll try this out and whatever. So I signed up and whatever, and we took the training, and then not even probably 3-4 months we were actually sleeping in the hall. So that's how I got my foot in the door. That was probably going on 15 years ago. Wow. Yeah, that we actually opened up that hall. I've made it through my paces with the department, with the support of the guys. I've had my ups and downs there, just like a normal firefighter would. and made my paces, did my things, and then they were asking me if I wanted to sit in as the chief.
Yeah.
I again worked my way up. So firefighter, lieutenant, captain. I was a deputy chief for about 11 months, and then they offered me the chief's position, and that was 3 years ago. Oh, wow. So I've been doing that. So it's a bit of a change. The stress is different.
Yeah.
But through this whole thing, this thing right here has helped me with the stress management, and the mental health. I've heard Curt say before that music is medicine, and it is. So this has helped me along the way. So
that's amazing, and that's kind of been the theme that I've heard with a lot of musicians, a lot of people that aren't even musicians as well. They consider music to be medicine, for themselves, and music to be healing. So that's amazing. And tell me, what was your wildest experience when it comes to fire, when it comes to having that job? And then also, second question, how does the community react to you being the chief, being the fire chief?
Okay, so community first. Community acknowledges me pretty good, I hope. I've always thought that it makes more sense when you see somebody that you know coming to your savior rather than somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always believed that, and I've seen it firsthand throughout the 15 years. So I think the community is pretty comfortable to have one of their own, in that position, and giving back to the community is what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Making sure that everybody's, making sure that we're just, safe across the board. Like I said, you see me turn off my phone. The different stresses, my phone's 24/7. It is. But now that I've got some help within the administration, like a deputy chief and so on and so on, they're actually taking on some of the weight as well. So it's working out good. I'm pretty sure the community, I see the support there with them, and I'm pretty sure they're happy with that. Now, the craziest part of firefighting, like I said, there's a lot of ups and downs. I don't really want to talk about the downs too much, but I'll tell you, when you're going into a fire, there's only one thing that's going on: adrenaline. That's it.
Yeah.
Your adrenaline is peaked, and how you control that differs between the three of us here. Okay. Yeah. So tunnel vision, you'll get straight tunnel vision. You'll feel. I don't know what you'll feel or see first, but definitely the heat of the fire, and then the smoke. So it's blacked out. So your vision is impaired significantly, which is why we cope to the ground, and we use we go along the walls to do primary searches and stuff like that. So probably my first house fire was probably the craziest time. I remember finding a door, and it was the fire was actually down in the basement. Thankfully, there was nobody inside. Okay. So we're just trying to get the hot spot and whatever. And I opened this door, and the guys are looking for the basement. And I opened this door, and then my hand disappeared, and then I fall down the stairs. But luckily, the stairs they're like a L kind of a shape like that.
Yeah.
Stopped on the second part there and called the guys. I said, hey, I found it right here. They got down there. They went, two of them went down. I followed the line back out. But what's crazy about that is when I got out to the front door there, my BA pack went off, meaning you got a few minutes of air left. Why it went off, I have no idea. But like I said, everybody's a little different, and you're dealing with adrenaline, and those packs are designed on your cardio. So I was probably huffing and puffing quite heavy, which would drain the bottle.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I'm thinking. Yeah. So The first, I think, to answer your question, probably the first fire I went into was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's. I guess you're first getting used to it.
Yeah.
You're first getting used to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy, that is. Well, you have a guitar in your hand.
Yeah.
So why don't you play us a song? I don't know if you have an original, but if you do, play it for us. We love originals on the podcast for sure.
So,
if you do.
I don't mind doing that. So I'm not gonna play the whole thing of this song. I'm still putting it together. It is a newer song that I'm working on. Now this song's about when I used to live in a basement suite with my wife, and we were staying with her uncle, and so I was in the basement again. so this one's called Crazy. I usually do it with a capo, but I kind of like the sound of the room here, so I think I'll just go through it.
Cool.
Give you a taste of this new song, and then if there's one after, then there's one after.
For sure.
Silver sterling and a diamond ring, rusty rivets on his pocket blade, yeah. Beat up tires on that old Sebring. We were crazy, baby. We fixed a car, a lot of hours spent. Weren't up to much, just the golfing, yeah. We get the kind of wanna let it go. We were crazy, baby, yeah. Ooh, yeah. We're meant to rent around them city streets. We were much too wild and the rent was free. We were much too in love and both naive. We were crazy, baby. That type of living's like a lottery, like a quick pick, sweep picking guitar strings. We were much too wild and both naive. We were crazy, baby, yeah. We were crazy, baby.
Hey.
Tyler Two Guns, everybody.
I like that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hey, that sounded like some contemporary country music that I liked it, man. Really good stuff.
I try not to stick to a genre.
Yeah.
Whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah.
Now, comfort zone blues, that's my comfort zone,
Yeah.
Any type of. I think a lot of musicians have a comfort zone, and that for me it's blues. If you grew up around country, I'm assuming it's country.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do have that comfort zone, and for me it's blues. But when I'm creating, or when an idea comes to mind, it could be the chords come first, or the lyrics, or the hook, or whatever. But I try not to hold it back. Mm-hmm. And say, oh, this has got to be blues, or oh, this has got to be country.
Yeah.
Whatever's coming through you, I think it's naturally.
Yeah.
So you should try to accommodate the way you think.
Yeah. Well, that song there, I know somebody that would produce that song pretty well.
Nice. Well,
My brother is a
cool.
producer here, right?
It's good to know. Yeah.
Sounds like in his genre and ball range there. Mm-hmm. So that's a good song, man.
Cool, thank you.
And so
You should definitely record it.
Yeah,
cool.
It was inspired by your time in the basement, you said?
Well, yes and no. So that song actually takes place between the time when I left Weldon and the time I started Firefighter. I wasn't doing too much except golfing. And a little bit of too much of that, but I was playing guitar at the time, and I did have acoustic, a little setup in the basement, and so that kind of goes back to that time. Yeah, we had an old Sebring, a vehicle.
Yeah,
it just kept breaking down. You fix it, break it down, and so stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's where that's the time era of that song. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Music is definitely healing, like he said. Now, you were talking about community, how the community takes you as fire chief, and I think it's important for nations like Tsuut'ina, like any nation out there, to have their own people in these positions, because we've also said this thing, like, when you can see it, you can be it, right? So I think it's really important for the boys on Tsuut'ina to see one of their, uncles out there and being in charge of the safety of the nation. Now, is there any programs that you guys run out there that kind of can introduce some of those younger people to firefighting or to policing? Because I know there's the Tsuut'ina Police Service as well. And is there programs like that for the young men on Tsuut'ina and young women too? I should say that.
So currently we're working on a JPR program. Okay, so basically what JPR is, it's a job performance. I can't remember what the R stands for, but basically what this is, it's a time for anybody to come down to the fire hall. We promote them, say 2 hours of training, say ladders, or if we're talking about hose lays or whatever the 2 hours is. Okay, now hour practical, hour in theory. So at the end of the theory part, you'd actually do a little quiz. Okay. And these quizzes, they actually come from the 1001 textbook. So the intent is for the individual to do this at their own pace, to see if they like it. Maybe it's not, because I'm not going to lie, it's not for everybody. To see if they like it. And then hopefully after about a year of doing, accomplishing all the objectives, then you could actually challenge the 1001. And that's something we'd provide. So
now that's a test to become a firefighter?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
That's the actual certificate.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So we're trying to incorporate that into the nation. To I guess the pilot portion of this, we're hoping to start in I'm thinking around June, July. It's tough with the summertime because powwow, rodeo, our community, our people like the summer. So it's hard to incorporate that during the summertime. Realistically, I'd like to kind of push it back to when school kind of gets back into things, and everybody gets
fall
back.
time.
And everybody gets back into their scenarios.
The swing.
Yeah. And so, but there is that type of program. We're trying to hash that out. As of now, we currently we don't really have nothing on the go. What's funny is the government will send us notifications. We got X amount of dollars for training. Can you send anybody? Yeah, I probably could. Can you send them in 2 weeks? Probably not.
Give me a little time.
Yeah, exactly. And oddly enough, I've got 2 guys on the floor that went through that process. They were just like, yeah, I'll go. And it's like, holy, my mouth dropped. And they actually successfully did it. But that's the way the government is designed. It's like, oh man. So I'm trying to develop our own, basically.
It seems like the government, when they offer things, it's almost like it's in bad faith in a way, like they don't give you the right amount of time. I mean, it's not in bad faith, but it's like, we have this opportunity, but you got to take it now or you don't get it at all. And couldn't there be some foresight into these programs? Couldn't we have 6 months so we can, get somebody prepared, get them out there and be successful? It was good that your guys were successful in it, but not everybody would be,
Exactly. And that's the intent, is to see if they even like the service. They might not like it, they might not, because we've had individuals come to us, straight out of school, just didn't pan out for them, the calls, the stresses that come with it, the brotherhood is great, but the other there's more to it than that, so we need basically 110%.
Is there like a program, like you said it yourself, the stress? I mean, you're in high intensity situations as a firefighter. You said your adrenaline is pumping, you get tunnel vision. So there's obviously a come down after that job is over. How do you deal with that? Like, it's going to be like a spike in emotion. Like, I worked with people experiencing homelessness, and I'm not equating it to firefighting, but you go into emotionally stressful situations all the time, and then you walk away and it kind of just washes over you, and then you have to sit with that, other people's trauma. How do you deal with that as a firefighter?
So there is some there's a critical stress incident management
Okay.
workshop. It's structured for first responders. And now in this workshop, it shows you how to deflect some of the triggers, but it also shows you how to debrief not only yourself but whoever was with you. And they say within the first 24 hours is critical. So trying to catch the guys before they leave the hall after a busy call.
Yeah.
Very effective. Now, another important thing is actually working out and eating properly. They go hand in hand with stress. But we do offer another thing that counseling itself. Counseling in itself goes a long ways. I've been to numerous counselors.
Yeah.
So everybody's a little different. First off, the individual you need them to want to get counseling, or else it's not going to be effective, So that's kind of a struggle with Indigenous people, particularly. It's very hard to get them to take that next step. Not all of us, just a few of us. Because it's a very one-on-one, private type of thing. People think as firefighters is these big strong guys, but realistically, we're just human beings. We are trained, to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, we all have emotions, and whether or not they want to get the help or not, everybody has their breaking point.
Yeah.
For sure. So there's definitely counseling options guaranteed throughout the department, but again, just getting them to take that next step.
Yeah, I think it's important that you said counseling, because I've been through counseling from my experiences in that job that I was talking about, because it really brought some of the intergenerational trauma to the forefront for me, seeing other people in the community struggling, having that second guessing thing, why them and not me, all these things that you run through your own mind. And counseling was really important for me to kind of be able to shuffle all of that and kind of put it in the right place so I could sit with it and then come to the realization that, I can't do that job forever, because, you can only do so much for other people. If you're not doing anything for yourself, you've got nothing to give other people.
Yeah.
So I had to walk away, but counseling made me realize that though too. And it's important, especially for Indigenous men, I think, to understand that it's okay to ask for help in something like that, because like you said, we're all human. We may be big burly dudes, but I mean, seeing somebody in their worst possible moment is going to affect everybody, and like you said, in different ways, but the way we deal with those things is the important thing, right? And sorry, but if you don't deal with them, eventually you're going to have to, right? It all bubbles up in other ways. So I'm glad you talked about counseling and you're open with that, because it's important for people to hear that it's okay to go to counseling.
Yeah, 100%. And I find it's a newer thing. It's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me that, say 10 years ago, there's probably I wouldn't have too much to say about it. But what I noticed is that there's actually therapy centers that are opening up. And they just don't have one counselor in there.
Yeah.
They got about 10 or 12 of them in there. And they're all different, they're all different races. There's men and women and whatever. And I think that's why I believe it's gotten so popular in the recent years here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The programs that you were mentioning about introducing the youth and the young ones to firefighting and getting involved, how are the numbers in that? And do you find that there's an interest with the youth to be involved with firefighting and also policing?
So numbers wise, if I was to take a group of 15, just top of my head, and I've gave these talks. We actually just did one on Monday there. Take a group of 15, 8 are interested, 4 will succeed. Those are the numbers there. That's just and the 4 that succeed, there's no guarantee that they'd actually go all the way.
Yeah.
So what Tsuut'ina Fire is trying to do that's a little different is we're actually trying to bring them into the hall. Okay, let's get them trained. Let's bring them into the hall. Let's get them to do a few shifts. Let's get them to get the feel of things. Maybe it's not for them. Some of them really excel. Some of them, they're just waiting for the big call, the Hollywood stuff,
Yeah.
Adrenaline.
Yeah. And then a lot of them are not a lot of them, and then there's just a very few number that are just kind of on that uncertain. Is it for me? Is it not for me? I like it now. We'll see.
Am I going to like it in 5 years?
Exactly. Yeah. So again, going back to the numbers when we first started, there was 10 of us. I think there's only 3 of us out of that group that are there now. So over the years, we've got new faces and whatever, and we have help from the other nations. We got help from Siksika, we got help from Kainai, from Morley and Musqueam.
Okay.
So there's other other nations that work in the nation as well too. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So it's good that way. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so a couple of questions here. Have you done any work inside the city when it comes to firefighting? And then when we think of the city, they have like fire hydrants and stuff all over the place. When we think about the reserve, obviously there's no fire hydrants there. What's the difference? And is there something that can be improved on the reserves to help fight fires?
Absolutely. There's a few things, top of my head when you talk about water. Yes. So ironically, you guys might find it shocking. So City of Calgary, and I just confirmed this on Monday. City of Calgary only has 5 wildland fire trucks. They only have 2 water trucks that actually shuttle water.
Oh, really?
Because they got a water system here. Okay.
Because they have the infrastructure. Yeah.
And because they're city, they're not really designed for the wildland aspect of it. But they got 5 buggies. Okay. Now out in Tsuut'ina, we have 3 just alone. Siksika, I don't know how much they have. They have a lot. Whether they're but they do. No different from the Bloods. But when we're talking about water, now yes, so a very small, the east end of the portion of Tsuut'ina Nation, we have a water system in place. Okay. But once you cross a certain part, there's none. We're on wells and we're on cisterns. Okay. So that's where the water truck is crucial to shuttle water and to dump water. But you got to go back and fill up, dump it, and then what's happening is our truck is actually pulling out water to put on the fire or the grass fire or whatever, vehicle fire, it doesn't matter what it is. Water is a very it's for a resource that was once plenty, they're talking drought this year. It's water and that's any indigenous community. Water is always a concern. It's never mind for firefighting, but just now just for drinking, for drinking. So it is a very crucial part of firefighting and probably the most. And what are we gonna do if we're talking about drought and it's 2024? So
exactly.
It's very concerning, for sure. Yeah.
Do you remember like being a child and seeing the fires ever the way it is, like the way it has been in the last 3 or 4 years, where we have smoke coming through Alberta and there's wildfires all over the world and stuff? Do you ever remember seeing or growing up with that?
But what's interesting about that? No, I don't remember seeing it. I remember a few incidents on the nation as a kid and whatever. I remember a few incidents, and every nation has probably had them and whatever. But I was talking to this elder, and this was last year because we sent some trucks up north, and I caught this elder and I said, hey, listen, I said, I'm sending some guys up north. I said, do you think you could send them up? Say a few prayers for them. I'll bring you tobacco. And he goes, yeah. And then we're walking out of the store, and he goes, you know what's interesting? And I said, what's that? He said, there never used to be wildfires. And I said, well, how come? And he's like, or actually he said, do you want to know why? And I said, well, how come? And he's like, it's because we used to pick the wood up, the deadfall. We used to pick it up. That used to be our way of life. We needed it to cook. We needed it to heat our houses, all that. So it was cleaned off of the ground. Now, believe it or not, that's the typical way a wildfire will actually travel, is all the dead excess on the ground, the fuel. Okay. So really, before our time here, they were actually fire smarting the communities just naturally.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting coming from an elder. When I said, "Hey, Alberta's on fire," and he said, "That never used to happen before."
Yeah.
So
I don't remember it.
yeah,
I'm
I don't
49 and
remember.
I don't remember having smoke. Like, you could hardly breathe.
For
in
days?
for
I don't
months,
remember that.
Like August in
Yeah.
itself would be just smoked out.
Remember one day in Calgary last summer, like the pictures all over the internet, like you can't, it's orange. Like,
Yeah.
there's smoke everywhere. You can't, like,
It looks like Pluto or something.
yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
And that is funny that you say that, like,
Yeah.
because we've gotten away from our traditional way of life, you know, when we forgot about the importance of that.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things that we probably do now that we're forgetting the importance of that traditional knowledge, you know?
Yeah, I think so. And well, it's funny too because we're talking about that, but we're also talking about water. you know? So it's it's times are getting scary here.
Yeah, and with the weather changing and with everything happening, it's good that we have people in our community like yourselves, to protect and to train our next ones to be able to protect the community when it comes to fires and that. So why don't you play us another song? Do you got another song for us?
Yeah, why don't you play us out? Because we've been
Yeah.
going almost an hour now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
that was
want to say
fast.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll end off with your song, and you are a deadly uncle.
Definitely.
It's an honor to have you here on season 2, Tyler. You're doing wonderful things in your community, and I can't wait to see what your next show is, and then also the community you're training as well.
Okay.
And can you get me Dwight Yoakam's phone number?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
Quick story before I get into the song
Okay.
about the Wayukum. This tuner here, I had a red one, and I lost it at that show. That we put our guitars to the side, and I put this on top of my amp.
Yeah.
They just basically took our stuff and shoved it to the side. But what's funny is I seen Dwight Yoakam in a video, in one of his music videos, and he had a red tuner on his guitar, and I'm wondering if that's my tuner.
Dwight, you can't afford your own $24 tuner or what?
Dwight's like, hey, finders keepers. I found this on the floor.
That's awesome, though.
So this song's called Resville.
Okay.
It's off of my album, which was in 2017. It's called Tyler M Rockstate, and the reason why I was in between names then, so that's why I just went Tyler M.
Oh, yeah.
So there's actual song called Rockstate, but the album is called that, Tyler M Rockstate. So this is a song off of there, and it's I hope you enjoy it. It's a country type of feel. So here it goes like this. We're built for comfort, not meant for speed. Life's too short and some to succeed. Oh, that's why I'm still trying. I get my kicks down the bottom of the hill, 'cause life ain't bad in Reservationville. Some will fake and some are ill, and come on day some looks could kill. Oh, that's why I'm still trying. I get my kicks down the bottom of the hill. Now life ain't bad in Reservationville. You gotta hold on that now. You gotta grab and make it feel good. Hey, why? Hey, why? Now back to comfort, there is no need. I got the blues and I got some speed. Oh, that's why, well, I'm still trying. I get my kicks down the bottom of the hill. Now life ain't bad in Reservationville. I get my kicks down the bottom of the hill. Now life ain't bad in Reservationville.
Good job, everybody. Tyler Two Guns. You know, before we leave, I just thought of something. You know, you can call yourself Chief Two Guns and not really be an elected chief because you're a fire chief.
All right, yeah, I do.
Yeah, there you go.
One more thing.
You're listening to the Deadly Uncle Podcast.
A safe space for Deadly Uncle conversations.
Coming up on the Deadly Uncle Podcast.
I believe we're not alone. Our ancestors are always there, even right now, listening to us. So, I mean, I believe we have to do it formally, ask them, like, with your own words. You know, you gotta formally ask them for help. And grandfathers, can you please help me with this? I have a problem with this. Figure myself, I don't want this no more. And you gotta formally ask them. Then give some tobacco or on their offerings like the Prince we do. So that's what we do now. I believe that's how it worked for me. So